Okay, in today's video, we're gonna see how many times a 405-pound bench presser can overhead press 135. Might shock you. All right, so I can bench press 405, and I've been wondering this for a while. How many reps of 135 can I get on overhead press? So, funny thing is, a lot of people assume if your bench press is heavy, then your overhead press should be heavy as well. And a lot of people don't understand overhead press is a very different animal. And honestly, this humbled me more than I was expecting. 7. Holy shit. That's probably about it. Okay. So for context, I can bench press 405. Fucking easy, bro. Right? That's one of my strongest lifts. Hey y'all, before we get into today's video, I do want to quickly shout out my own workout program, right? This is a program I designed myself and it helped me get to a 405 bench. Come on! Fucking easy, bro. Right? And a 635-pound deadlift, right? Right. And I've only been training for squat for about a month and I'm already at 405, right? And here's a video of that. Finally. Finally. Again, it's only $5, less than a Big Mac, but more fulfilling. I really appreciate you guys. And getting back to the video. But overhead press is the type of, lift that exposes weakness, right? If your shoulders aren't built for it, and your endurance will be the first to falter, right? And 135 is the type of weight where it doesn't seem as intimidating as it is, but it's heavy enough for it to expose the weaknesses you have, right? Like again, if your shoulders aren't built for it, if you are lacking in the shoulder department, the overhead press is gonna let you know. And the cool thing about overhead press is it's also a compound lift, right? So it's not only activating or engaging your shoulders, your delts, it's also engaging a lot of other muscles, right? It's recruiting your core, your traps, your upper back. And that's why it's really considered one of the better upper body exercises, right? A lot more, what would I say, like more applicable to the real world compared to bench, right? Because again, bench press, when are you really going to be pushing stuff, right? I mean, obviously in certain situations, sure. Like if you're like playing football or doing football sports like that, which, requires you to output a lot of force when it comes to pushing, then yeah, that makes sense. But for the human, like for the average Joe, you're not really doing any of that. Maybe if you're in that warehouse, you're just trying to push boxes and stuff like that. But then again, not really an optimal kind of lift, right? Whereas overhead press, you're kind of carrying stuff overhead a lot more than you are pushing things, right? Or you're just, overhead press is also, applicable when it comes to just having something carrying it over your shoulders and stuff like that. Because again, it builds a lot of upper body development. You got your traps, your shoulders, your upper back, stuff like that. So again, overhead press 135, it exposes a lot of, weaknesses, right? It's a very unforgiving lift, to say the least. So honestly, still kind of sad, still kind of disappointed with what I got, but it kind of tells me, okay, this is what I need to do and this is where I need to get stronger at, right? And funny enough, before I did this, I had a number in my head, probably about 10 to 15, shit, probably even 20, right? But that's not how overhead press works, right? If you're doing a strict overhead press, you have no leverages such as leg drive or, like hip thrusting or stuff like that. If you're trying to do a strict overhead press, right? Like I said earlier, it exposes your weaknesses, right? Overhead press is very unforgiving. It's an unforgiving lift because it is the definition of building strength, right? How do you like plan on building strength if you rely on your weaknesses, right? That's just not how it works. So obviously, was very humbled, was expecting a lot more, but I ended up having 7. And then the second set, I only had like 3 to 4 reps in me. So again, a little disappointing, but the overhead press does let me know, okay, this is what I need to work on. And I do plan on implementing the overhead press into my daily workout program. I know I've said that a while back, but when I was doing a lot of bench press, I've noticed like, the shoulder overlaps. Like it just didn't really work for me or for my workout programming. But now I'm probably going to be taking a little like a sit back from benching too much, and then probably like keep implementing my overhead press, because again, a lot of weaknesses I need to trim out and improve on, and I'm excited to get 3D delts, right? And another thing people don't seem to realize with overhead press is it's a lot more shoulder dominant, right? Compared to bench press, where you're using your, obviously your chest, your triceps, and your front delts. And not only that, your leg drive, right? So you have a lot more going for you, right? You have a lot more leeway versus, like I said earlier, where like the overhead press is a lot more unforgiving, right? A lot more emphasis on your delts, right? So that also explains why I didn't get as many as I thought I would. Still not a good enough excuse. Still have a lot more areas to improve on. But again, overhead press, a lot more unforgiving. You have a lot less leeway and you're more shoulder dominant. So like I said earlier, still got a lot to improve on. Funny enough though is when I started overhead pressing, like with the first, 2 reps, 3 reps, I'm like, oh, this is pretty easy. But like I said, it exposes your endurance and your weakness. The minute I started going a little past 3 to 4, and I'm like, okay, this is a lot harder than I thought it was, right? That's when the weaknesses started showing. That's when I had the fatigue started coming in. And yeah, like whereas on bench press, you can honestly grind more reps. But unlike overhead press, it's, a little bit harder, especially if you're trying to remain that strict overhead press where you're not having people flag you for push press, right? Again, a lot more unforgiving, a lot more taxing. So in total, I ended up doing 7 reps for my first set and about 3 to 4 reps for my second set, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Holy shit. That's my body.
A little bummed out that it wasn't more, but it is what it is, right? It's actually a really good, time to reflect on what I need to improve on, right? The fatigue was kicking in by probably the 3rd, 4th rep, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is a lot harder than I thought it was, right? Again, I wouldn't say I was cocky, but I was a lot more, confident in myself going into this, because I was like, I have a 405 bench. This should be a lot easier. And I've had a lot of people comment when I posted my first 135 overhead press saying, oh, I thought you'd get more, right? And it was just me doing it for one time. It's like, buddy, if I really tried like I did with my bench press, like the way I train my bench press, I promise you I'd probably be at 315 right now, right? That's not even me being cocky, right? This is just the lift I don't really train on, right? And me doing this, it exposed my weakness. It exposed that what I need to be working on, right? Because again, my endurance wasn't there. The fatigue set in. And I just have a lot more to work on, right? That's the cool part about the gym though. The more you put in, the more you invest in yourself, the more you'll get back. It's the return on investment is amazing, right? So that's today's video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, make sure to leave them down below. And yeah, like and subscribe. Really appreciate you guys.